Well, hi, everyone, and welcome to the podcast. I'm Marcy Marcusa. This is Manitoba. And if you're new to the podcast, we try to look at stories that impact our lives here in Manitoba. And today, you might be able to tell by my tone that we're actually talking about the death of someone who was very well known in our province and certainly in the city of Winnipeg. Remembering Winnipeg City Councillor Jason Schreyer. News of Jason Schreyer's death garnered quite a reaction. He was 57 years old. He was the city councillor for Elmwood-East Kildonan for over a decade in public life. And so today on the podcast, we're going to hear how people are remembering him and what they're hoping his legacy will be. So we will be taking you to Elmwood-East Kildonan to hear from people there, constituents, about what their hopes are moving forward and how Jason Schreyer might be remembered. But first, let's hear a little bit more about the causes that were important to him, one of them being food insecurity. We're about to hear from his friend and fellow city councillor here in Winnipeg, Ross Eadie. But first, let's hear from Mayor Scott Gillingham, who spoke to reporters about the shocking news.
Our council is shocked to hear of his death. Jason and I were elected at the same time in 2014. I've always appreciated working with him. He's a passionate advocate for people's affordability, to make sure people can afford to live in Winnipeg. And I know he was working on a project in his ward, in the Elmwood-East Kildonan ward, related to food security and looking at a parking lot that's available to try to make that more than a market, a distribution for food. That was a project he was passionate about, so that people that couldn't afford groceries would have a place to access food. He would often talk, as those of you that follow council know, he would talk regularly about the impact of construction inflation on city costs. And it came to the point where we would joke with him, and we would just kind of almost time the meetings to see how many times Jason would talk about construction inflation. And he is absolutely going to be deeply missed. We are going to be doing all we can to honor his legacy. I've committed the resources of my office. Other councillors have committed their resources as well to help his assistant, his executive assistant right now, to continue on the work of the office and the ward office. Appointments that Councillor Shrier was involved in, and committees he sat on, and vacancies this will create. Those will all be dealt with in the future here in the coming weeks.
Mayor Scott Gillingham speaking to reporters yesterday about the passing of Councillor Jason Schreyer at 57 years old. The Winnipeg Free Press this morning spoke with Ed Schreyer, and the Winnipeg Free Press is reporting that the family still doesn't know how his son died. Let's talk to Councillor Ross Eadie. He represents the Monarski ward. He and Councillor Schreyer were close friends, and he joins us now on CBC. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Marcy. He was also, we called each other brother as well.
I'm so sorry for your loss. Tell me what he was like. Just as let's have a moment to remember how, through your eyes, how you'll be thinking about him and how you're remembering him.
Well, I'm remembering highlights. I've known him since the 1990s. Just to show you, he is an amazing man. He's always helping people. He believed he was born for a life of service to the people. He didn't necessarily want to run again for office, but Lillian Thomas mentioned it to him, and then he did in 2014. But I'll give you one example of how much he would help. Just people, friends, family. So we were moving out of a house, and I didn't have a truck for my office equipment. It had to be moved to Broadway, and I was standing in the driveway and just distraught. And there's Jason Schreyer. He pulls up in a truck, no less. He was coming to my house for a different reason, and there he was, and he helped me move all my office stuff to my new office on Broadway. And I was just like, it was miraculous. And he showed up in my life quite a bit. He called himself my yodeler, and but he would help a lot of people. The mayor referred to food security. He had more than just the one initiative going with on the parking lot there. He was looking at supplying money so that the Chalmers Neighborhood Resource Network could purchase a storefront where they would have cheap food. So not for free, but you could go in there and find cheap food that's close to done. And he also had a distribution point that he wanted to do at Melrose Place, which is a community center, and he would distribute food there to the people who needed food. So that's the kind of thing. And you could talk to many people. Jason's always there to help, and always there to help his New Democrat colleagues, including me. He helped me out my last election campaign.
I understand. I think he was even maybe at Leila Dance's headquarters. She lost in her riding on during the federal election on Monday, and I think he was at the the gathering there. How shocking!
Yeah, Junction 59. Actually, that's the last time I talked to.
Take a second here.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
This is maybe it's a silly question, but I mean, how shocked are you? And I mean, obviously, nobody knows quite what happened here, but where are you finding support given the shock? Is it maybe a better question? Where are all the councillors finding support?
Well, there's some counseling support that the mayor and the CAO had arranged for us. Councillors have buddied up. I'm buddied up with Councillor Sharma and Councillor Santos because we're both on Lord Selkirk West Kildonan Community Committee. We're talking to each other, checking in on each other, and my girlfriend Amanda Ducharme, Jason was like her big brother, and he called him big brother, and her and I are talking and trying to get over this. Like I still don't believe it. Like I don't believe it. Like
I want to ask you, I mean, you were leaning into what he was like as a person and also as a counselor and some of the causes there. I understand that he disliked power politics. He was, known as a free spirit. What do you think that he would want to be remembered for?
What would he want to be remembered for? Well, he in his ward, he's going to be wanted to be remembered for. And I'm going to try to help Mr. Hurley in that to make sure all those food security things happen.
You're going to follow through on some of those things.
I'm going to help Chris Hurley, who's kind of maintaining the office, and I'm working and been talking to Lalani. Can't remember her last name at the Chalmers Renewal Corporation there. But his legacy. He wouldn't. He would just, I think, want to be remembered for all the service and like he was such a kind man and always upbeat, and he would want to be known for that. And he also. In the future, he'd like to see us get a handle on construction inflation. Many times we sat on the stoop stairs at my house talking about it too, not just at speeches. He wants the NDP need to remember him. He was always there helping out in campaigns, whether they looked like we were going to win or lose. He was always out there helping out.
Yeah, I know he leaves behind also a wife and two children. I want to ask you something before you go this morning that might leave us smiling, thinking about Councillor Jason Schreyer. We played this clip of him singing karaoke earlier.
Yeah.
How much of a passion was that for him? You're describing him as a fun-loving guy. Like, did you get out singing a lot?
Yeah, we used to do the Counselor Brothers, and we would sing some Blues Brother, Soul Man, and then we would yeah, we'd go to karaoke all the time. It's like for us, it was stress relief, right? Like we would go karaoke at Boogie's, for example, after a council meeting.
What was his fave song? Like, what did he nail when he was out there?
Well, his go-to song was "Could You Be Loved."
No, he did a lot of Marley then, because I think our clip was a Bob Marley song too.
Yeah, well, that was his thing, and but to watch and listen to Jason sing, he moves like he's dancing, and he was such a good dancer. So I'm kind of the same way too. I got to keep moving when I'm singing, right? And but he had some really cool moves. Like he is a trained dancer in folklorama and all that, and he's going to be so missed for that too, because he would be at various pavilions.
Just last, Councillor Eadie, how do you plan to honor his memory in the coming days? Can you share anything about that you think the public should know as well?
Well, we were kind of talking. We want his name to be out there in the Elmwood-East Kildonan ward. We don't have any ideas, but this might sound selfish to you, but Jason and I would talk for hours and hours on the stairs at my place, and he wanted me to write a book, an autobiography, and he even bought me a recorder to do it. I'm gonna have to finish it. I've been busy singing.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's raw,
and I'm gonna dedicate it to him because he kept pushing me. You got to do it, Ross. You got to do it. And I would like. There's no way we can go into his whole life, but we would talk about our past and the experiences that he had in life are amazing. Yeah.
Councillor Eadie, thank you very much. Obviously, today, you're still coming to terms with this. Councillors are still coming to terms with this, but we really appreciate you taking a moment, because a lot of Winnipeggers, they might know their councillor, they know their councillor's name, they might know their work, of course, publicly, but it was really, I'm grateful for you to remember Jason Schreyer in his professional and personal, public role, but also personally today. Really appreciate it. That's Ross Eadie. He's the city councillor for the Mynarski ward. He was reflecting on the death of his friend, Councillor Jason Schreyer, who died suddenly at the age of 57. Well, in Jason Schreyer's constituency, in the part of Winnipeg he represented, people are also remembering, and they're also thinking about what his legacy might be through the projects that he worked on. He was part of something that the Chalmers Neighbourhood Renewal Corporation was part of as well, a special project to address food insecurity in that area of Winnipeg. Leilani Esteban Villarba is executive director over at that organization. Here's my conversation with her about the late councillor. Good morning, Leilani.
Good morning.
So how involved was Councillor Schreyer with your organization? I heard he was down visiting you guys a lot.
Jason was part of this Chalmers Neighborhood Renewal family, so he was there almost every other day. Yeah.
I heard he joked about even setting up an office there. Is that right?
Actually, I think that was a serious thing because, he was there so often that, and he loved being with the community and being able to reach out and talk to people one-on-one. And so everybody at the center knew who he was, and everybody at the center has had conversations with him, and that's why it's so hard for all the people who are part of the center. When we heard the news, it was devastating to all of us. It was quite a shock. Yeah.
I was going to ask you about that. I've been down to your center. I mean, obviously, everyone there is, it's so supportive. It's a busy place where there's everything from play groups to, help with food, as we mentioned. There's a kitchen there. People drop in and just, fellowship and companionship. So how did the news reach you guys? Have you been supporting each other?
Well, I don't know. I found out earlier, and it was, I couldn't believe it. Most of us just couldn't believe it at first. And so the shock and the fact that we were just, like, I literally had texted him that morning to ask about the project that we were working on.
I'm so sorry, Leilani.
Mm-hmm.
What was the project? Tell us about the food security program that you were working on in a way that, obviously now will become his legacy. So what were you working on?
Right now, like, the support that he gave us is going to put, I don't know if you remember 243 Henderson and the corner lot there. That was a gas station before, and then Suncor allowed CNRC to use it as a community space. And we are going to put 2 storage containers, climate-controlled storage containers on it. He called them train cars. So two 40-foot train cars, and they are going to store food rescue items that are going to be diverted from the landfill. And we've partnered with Climate Change Connection, and we are going to ensure that food doesn't get wasted, and, like, perfectly great, good food that can still be consumed. And yeah, so I don't know.
So people could go to those containers is the idea once they're set up. And is it a pay what they can situation?
That's right. So it's a food desert in Elmwood. Our biggest grocery store shut down last year, and there isn't anywhere that you could get access to affordable, fresh or foods and within walking distance of the community. So Jason was really intent on making it happen, like anything food related and barrier free and accessible to the community. He was all about food. And so when Climate Change Connection came to him at one of the council meetings, he jumped on it and he said, we can do this, and we can do this with Chalmers Renewal. And so we just
got on board and made it happen.
got on board.
Yeah. When do you hope? Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Leilani.
Yeah, we were hoping that we were going to do it last year. Like, it started last year. We wanted it in by September, but all the stuff that needed to be done. So we are hoping to get it done before the end of July.
So you're aiming for this summer? For
this summer, yeah.
It will be difficult, obviously, when that day comes and Jason Schreyer isn't there to celebrate with the community. But what do you have any special plans to remember him at all, or this is all very fresh? So I know that people are still absorbing what has happened here, but I'm just curious whether or not maybe that is going to bear his name, that project, or if that's something you might like to see.
Absolutely. If you knew Jason was full of energy, full of life, full of everything, like everything fun. He brought energy. And so, yes, so the corner has another building across the street that we are hoping to purchase, and what we would like to do is call it Jason Schreier's Corner. So the building at 241 Henderson and then the lot at 243 Henderson. So it is literally Johnson and Henderson. That will be Jason Schreier's Corner.
Thank you so much, Leilani, for remembering your councillor and the efforts he made around food security in your part of Winnipeg. Well, I think if that comes to fruition, Jason Schreier's Corner, what a lovely honor that would be in legacy, especially given that it comes from the constituents who knew him. Appreciate your time this morning. I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you so much, Marcy.
That's Leilani Esteban Villarba, Executive Director over at the Chalmers Neighborhood Renewal Corporation. Well, I'm Marcy Marcusa. Thanks, everyone, for tuning into our special edition of the podcast today. And we hope you tune in again to This is Manitoba. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.
Our council is shocked to hear of his death. And on behalf of all of City Council, we extend our deepest condolences to Councillor Schreyer's wife, Sarah, and family, his parents, the Honourable Ed and Lily Schreyer, and their family as well at this almost unbelievable news.